Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the STEMTech Co show. I am Naomi Meredith, a K-5 STEM teacher and was formerly a classroom teacher for many of years. So today we're going to talk about the Hour of Code, which is coming up. And I know some of you are in person and some of you are virtual, or you might be going into that situation. So this is a two-part series. Today I'm going to give you an overview of what I've done being in person. And then the next episode, we are going to talk about things that you can do virtually, because you can definitely overlap some of these ideas and also still be involved. So today, like I said, is the in-person ideas. Today, it will just be an overview, and I'm going to go over things that I've done in my class for the past couple of years. So this can all be printed out, and I'll give you that link at the end so you can print this for yourself, or if you just want to see the list version on my blog, it will be there as well. So just before we get started, there are some things to keep in mind. If you've never done the Hour of Code, it goes along, it's presented by code.org, and they want to get kids involved in coding. So if you are a classroom teacher or a STEM teacher, everybody can be involved, and the resources are absolutely free, which is amazing. The first time I heard about Hour of Code, I was a classroom teacher, and we had our kids try it out in the classroom, and you don't have to have really anything, just a device to get started. So it's just a fun way for the kids to be exposed to coding, since coding is in our world, whether you know it or not. And so it's good for the kids to be involved and try it out, because they might find a passion they've never thought of before. So thinking about the materials for in-person, hourofcode.com is a great way to promote this at your school. Maybe you're the first one to do it at your school, or maybe you are the STEM teacher, but they have resources that they update and add to all the time. So definitely check that out. I've printed posters off of there before, so I haven't checked out this year's posters yet, but there's also really cool things on there for you. I use my coding vocabulary that I've added to along the years, so it's over here on the side. But these are common coding words that I expose the kids to, not all of them at once, but as they come up through our experiences, it's great to have this hanging up. So I printed out the smallest version, but you can definitely show this digitally on your screen. Again, that link will be in everything for you at the end. For some of the things, for some of the stations, it does require a little bit of prep, not very much. And I like to use those clear Sterilite containers that just have that white plastic lid and clear. They're like $1 at Target, Walmart, but I like to put those on every table, and then have the materials for the whole week for all the grade levels. So I'll put markers in there, little whiteboards. For some of the grades, I use these scratch coding cards. So I'll put that all in that bucket, and so it's ready to go. Now, if you can't have a whole table group share, maybe have a bucket for each kid, or think about creative ways to do that. But that's worked well in the past. Also decide, when you are doing the computer coding, not all of this is computer coding, which you will see in a second, but when you are doing the computer coding, think about how you want to share the links with your kids. Is there a common way that the kids gather links from their teacher with you? Do they get it off of your website? Do you put it in a platform like Seesaw? So think about that ahead of time, just so that you're prepared. You can have them go to the actual website, but I'm going to actually show you some activities that work well specifically for the kids. Now, I don't just say go to Hour of Code and pick something. There are specific ones that I do like to have the kids use. Also, decide if you're going to have the kids code by themselves, have them do paired coding, one device, and then they both use it. Just knowing your situation and what devices you have, think that through. And then also, if you want to do stations or whole group instruction, and I use both for K-5, just in a variety of ways. I mix it up throughout the week. So think about how you want to do that. So not too much prep, but really thinking about those processes is really helpful when you are getting ready for Hour of Code. Again, there's going to be a mixture of some device coding and also coding unplugged. So coding unplugged, if you haven't heard of that, is when you are going through coding processes without the need of a device. It's also great to have these as a backup just in case if the internet is not working, because that has happened before. So having a variety, and it's also good for kids to see that it's not always on the computer, that coding can be done in that thought process, that computational thinking can be done in different ways. For lesson structure, I mentioned that I like doing center rotations. I teach majority of my lessons using a workshop model just because I did use that as a classroom teacher. I really think that model works well when I'm teaching STEM. So the kids will come in, we have a quick warm-up. I will teach a mini lesson, like 10 minutes, and then we'll go through the expectations, and the majority of the time is them spent on the activity, and then we close at the end. There is a cool way that I've had the kids close at the end of the week, so I put white paper on all the tables, and then each grade level had a different color marker that they got to use. The kindergarten was green, first grade blue, and so on and so on. And then they had the same prompts to respond to on the paper. So it was like graffiti paper. Might not work so great this year, but maybe you could switch out the paper just for each class. So it was cool for the kids to see how each of the grades experienced hour of code throughout the week. Now, if you are teaching STEM, really when you think about it, if you're doing a mini lesson and activities, it's a week long, an hour long at the end. So I'm not doing a full on hour at a time because that's a long time doing one thing. So all those little chunks add up to an hour. So for kinder and first grade, I like to start off the week talking about computer software and hardware and what the difference between the two are. And then I have them build a paper tablet, which I will give you all the links at the end. But they build a paper tablet where they can see the software, the apps, and then some of the parts on the inside. And they think, you guys, they think this is like the most amazing activity they've ever done. But we talk about that. I have some videos that we will watch throughout the week, and then we will do some device coding, whether it be with B-Bots, which has the little arrow keys, those code and go mouse, which I've mentioned before, but we'll do a little bit of robot coding throughout the week, and then also some device coding. Hopster Coding Safari, it's a free app for iPads. That one has been super successful. Bebot has a free app as well. Codable is also great for this age level. The app, as of now, from what I remember, isn't free necessarily, but it is free online. So those have that directional based coding that's so great for kids getting started, and they can visually plan out the path. So that's been really great for kinder and first throughout the week. For second grade, I still do some of that directional coding as well, like that pre-reading type coding, which has been also awesome with them. Scratch Junior has an app for the iPads. I haven't checked other devices, but that app is free as well. And on their website, they have little challenges that you can print out so the kids can try the challenges and go through that. So that takes a couple of days. There is some reading involved. I know people who have used Scratch Junior with younger kids without those directional cards, which you can definitely do. I like those challenge cards because it builds off one another. So if they do challenge 1, it helps them with challenge 2, so they can see the process of how the code works and how looping works, how repeating patterns work, and then it checks their work along the way. So those challenges are really, really great for them to try. And I make like a little sticker sheet that they can put a sticker after each time they finish a challenge. So second grade, that's been awesome. I've also played this unplugged game with them. It's called Robot Turtles. It's a board game, and they lay down the cards, and then they have to grab the jewels and avoid different paths. We've played it as a whole class, and then I had them play it in small groups. Like I'll break them up. Like some of you are playing Scratch, some of you are doing Robot Turtles. The next day we will switch. So that's kind of like a big type of center rotation that has been awesome with second grade. For third grade, now I'm a former third grade teacher mainly, and so third grade like really starts connecting and understanding really how coding works. And so a lot of the games on the Hour of Code website really connect well with the third graders. Again, we play those videos and all of that, but the one that they really, really like with the block coding It's pre-Scratch, so you might have heard of Scratch, but with the block coding, they have the little directional things. They really have liked the Angry Birds coding. There's a Minecraft one, and then there's also a new one last year, a dance party. So they drag the blocks, and then they have to pass that level to go on to the next one. So it also checks their work and gives them tips along the way. Again, it's a great way for them to really understand what coding means and how if they do this, then this is the reaction it has. So those are really, really awesome. They work, like I said, really, really well for third grade. And we might do a little bit of unplugged activities as well. I've done some cup coding before where that's on their website where there's different images that they have to try to build and write the code. So that one's been really awesome. Fourth grade, again, this is up to you. Fourth grade does a lot better with the actual Scratch, and Our Code has a good starter project. But Scratch is, again, block coding where they're dragging blocks, and it the code will read down, and then it will create the thing on the screen, like what is happening. So that was not a great explanation, but they do really well with Scratch. There is more reading involved. That's why I like to start them in fourth grade, just so they're a little more confident. They have more basis with coding, but that's a great one that we will start. Scratch has these really awesome coding cards, these challenge cards. So there's like 9 different challenge cards. They kind of like the Scratch Junior I talked about. These ones you do have to buy, but they follow the prompts, and then each card builds off another, so they can actually complete a task. Those ones take about like 3 days for the kids to finish a task because they usually are getting started with Scratch, but it helps them feel successful because they create something that actually works and they're not just pressing random buttons and doing random things, which is important also, but that one's really great too. For fifth grade, I have done Scratch before, but even when I first started with them, Scratch connects to something called a makey, which are these little wires that you can connect to things that there's conductors and insulators. So if you connect it to things that are conductive, it will trigger the makey into whatever the code is that you created. So Play-Doh is actually conductive, which is really weird. But when you press the Play-Doh, it's connected to the makey, and then it might play the sound. So you might have seen things like with bananas, people play a banana piano, but that's what the makey is. But they do have to code in Scratch. So it's kind of connecting everything together in one, which works well with fifth grade. You could do this throughout the week, have a challenge. I've done this where the kids created a diorama of something with earth changes, I think it was. And then when you touched each of the clamps, it said something about their projects. And they had to do a little bit of coding for that. So definitely think about those bigger ways you can do it. But if you're just getting started, or if the kids have done Scratch before, this is a cool way to connect Scratch into something that is in their real world and how they can make something interactive. So all of these big picture ideas for you, you're like, whoa, this is a lot. How do you lay it out each day? Like I said, this is just an overview. There's more to it, to what I teach. But if you were like, I can't remember all of this, where is all of this? It's absolutely free for you. But you can download the free printable guide, or if you just want to see the list version on my website, it's naomimeredith.com/hour of code. All of the grade levels are listed on there. I have it broken up day by day, like what video clips I play for them, which activities. There's other things that I actually didn't mention, but you can see that all laid out for that in-person hour of code. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me on Instagram. It's at Naomi Meredith _. I would love to help you answer questions, help you get started, what would work best for your class. But let me know. And I am so excited for you and your kids. Try Hour of Code if you've never done it before. It is so much fun. You will learn a lot. The kids will learn a lot, and it will be definitely worth your time and perfect for these cold winter months. Thank you so much again, and I hope to see you again on another episode of the STEMTech Co show. I'll see you later.